everybody. Let's do some point of view of this McLaren. I hope you guys enjoyed the introduction. I really wanted to go through and just show you some of the design details that, to be honest with you, you're just not going to be able to see. And I wanted to point them out to you because, you know, when you look at this car in pictures, it almost kind of looks on the ugly side, right? But notice here, this is all about aero, right? Air flows here, cools the brakes, flows here. Everything about McLaren, you know, they engineer these things in Surrey. They are all about just taking light, fast, and getting it to the ground, right? I mean, just amazing amount of aero, right? I mean, every aspect of this car, right? You see it down here, you see it here, you see it here. By the way, if you want to open the vehicle, there's a knob right here. Push this, and it opens up. But now you can even see more of the aero right here and right here. I mean, you see it in the B-roll, but look at that. That's a massive radiator to cool the 4.0 liter twin turbo V8, right? And even coming back here, you have the active aero wing, the dual exhaust in the center. It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, check this out. Look at the rear diffuser down here. Now the owner has striped it. This is not stock. You can see here. I mean, it's just unbelievable the amount of air, you know, and the amount of aerodynamics that McLaren engineers. Coming around here, 390 millimeter carbon discs. You have the red calipers, absolutely sinister spec. You know, you got black, absolutely crazy. I don't know if you can see it here. You see the flake? This is very much like my Aston Martin Vanquish. It has the flake to it. Overall, this is just such a good looking car. It really is. They nailed it. I mean, not only is it all about function, but it has just an incredible form to it. I mean, just look at it. It is absolutely one of the hottest cars. And here's the thing that's really interesting to me. I think this car is going to age so well. I think in 5, 10, 15, 30 years, other than maybe some of the electronics like the inside, which I'm going to show you next, this is still going to be probably one of the hottest cars that humankind, right? Man, woman, whatever, humankind has ever designed. All right, as I mentioned earlier, you want to go ahead and hold that. The door will automatically open itself. It's not something you have to manually do. Surprisingly easy to get into. Notice you have all of this space here. So as a big guy like me, you don't necessarily have to struggle like with the Lotus and whatnot. Now you put your first leg in and you kind of slide down. Now, is it the easiest car to get into? No, because you do have this side sill. But after the Lotus experience, frankly, this is much easier to get into. But just check it out. I mean, it looks very cool in here. Modern. This has the full Alcantara spec to it. Again, you could get all this in carbon fiber if you want, right? I personally like that the owner didn't do that. This is a driver's car. He wants to enjoy the heck out of it. A couple of things that are visible here. You do have the carbon wheel. You do have a couple of carbon upgrades on the inside here. So you can do, you know, a mix and match, right? This does have the it does have the Bowers & Wilkins sound system here as well. So there are a few strategic upgrades in the car, but you know, there's so many things you can personalize your McLaren. You know, you could change here the pattern of the seat, right? You can go with leather. You can go with Alcantara. I mean, you can see here there's a couple of carbon upgrades in here, but overall, I would say the spec on this car is definitely going to be a little bit more on the quote affordable side, considering that, you know, you are talking about a car that has an MSRP of over $300,000. All right, let's go ahead and turn it on. Now, I have the key in my pocket. Put your foot on the brake. All right, that turned it on. So here's a quirk I just found out. Here's the key, right? It did not register that it was in the vehicle. So this is the spot that McLaren has supposedly designed. I gotta say, it sounds pretty loud. You know, we're definitely gonna hear it on the point of view camera. But overall, you know, I'm gonna have to turn the car off, I think, because it's very loud. And I do want to actually talk to you guys a little bit about the car. So that's the way it sounds like it. You know, you have all these fun buttons though. Here's the active aero button. If you hold that when you're in drive, the wing will go up and down. Here's how you can adjust your screen. If you hold that button down, it'll actually make it go to the race mode here. You can set when you're in your settings, if you want to be in race mode, but you want to keep the screen where it's actually showing you your tire pressure, your oil temp, trans temp, all that fun stuff, you know, gas. Obviously, you want to see more of that stuff if you are driving the vehicle, you know, obviously. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would definitely want to know, you know, how is my air, you know, in my tires, am I at 30 pounds or 28 pounds per square inch, right? Or 35 or whatever, right? Now, this right here is a touch screen. You know, one of the fun design details of the McLaren, you know, this is a guy in a race suit. I got to keep the air on a little bit, guys. It is so hot today. Well, to be honest with you, it's not that hot, it's just humid. But you know, overall, you have the ability here to do the active mode. This is how you control sport. It does change the look, so that's comfort, and then track. So, you know, it does actually change the look of the screen. However, like I said, the owner is able to keep it in the full mode in track. Stock out of the box, it will go ahead and lower and just give you that right there, which is just tells you essentially your gear and your RPMs. You can see here, down here in the transmission tunnel, you do have a little bit of a cup holder here. You have the ability to put here. Here's how you're gonna go ahead and plug in your phone. But overall, you know, you're not gonna really get a ton of space in this car. You do have a little bit of space here. You have a little cubby here, but overall, you know, it's an exotic sports car, right? So you can see here, if you want to go into drive, you hold that down, you push, keep your foot on the brake, of course, reverse, and to stop the car, you want to put it in neutral, and you want to come over here, and you want to pull your parking brake. Okay, if you don't necessarily do that, or you don't release the parking brake, you're not gonna, your car could actually roll down a hill. It's something you need to be aware of. Here's how you have your front trunk release, and then of course you have your power windows. You know, overall visibility in the car, it's pretty darn good. You know, here's your view in the rear view camera. You know, so you do have a pretty good spacious cockpit. Now you can get this to be open glass in certain specs. This particular car has this covered up. So just keep that in mind. In some of the newer versions, you can make that actually glass. Gives you a really airy cockpit, I have to say. Overall impressions though, you know, there's no buttons on the steering wheel. You have carbon wheels, or excuse me, carbon paddles here to shift with. Very, very nice interior. Very Ferrari, where you have the center stack here. Overall, I absolutely love the interior of the McLaren. It just looks good. You know, the exterior is exotic and so is the interior, and that's really what they nailed. You know, one of the questions I personally had about the McLaren is, how do you, like, as a person, as a normal person, like if you have your wife, right, how does she get in and out of the vehicle with these amazing, you know, pop-up doors, right? So in order to get out, you pull this and you just give it a slight love tap, right? And as you can see, it manually opens up. Now, if you're a big guy like me, you're gonna have no problem reaching, right? I have to get out of the seat about 4 inches. If your woman is, you know, 5'2", she could struggle a little bit with having to reach the door. And I gotta say, it takes a little bit of effort to get it started. And then once you kind of get to about there, it does, I'll be honest with you, it takes a little bit of effort the entire ways. Now it does have soft closing. So if you just can get it to the point where you're about most of the way, you can see there it will eventually fully close the door. So that's a nice feature of it. But just keep in mind, if you're, you know, if you have a lady or maybe your grandma and you're trying to show her the car, you know, she might struggle a little bit with getting the car closed. You want to be a gentleman, let her in, shut the door for her, you know, the whole nine, right? All right, so we got Colin here driving his car. Now this is his car, so you have to understand, he's put 10,000 miles on this car. He knows what it's capable of. It's difficult for me to get in the car coming from a car like my Vanquish, because this car is just so much more car, right, than I'm frankly used to. So I'm not saying I'm intimidated by it, because you can baby it, right? But man, like, it's a lot of car, bro.
If you ask for everything it'll give you, it'll be more than you're ready for. So
yeah, I mean, wow, it's shockingly fast. When that turbo spools up and you get to about 7,000 RPMs, they forget about it, right? It's just so much power.
I'm gonna go into town here and get us some gas.
Cool.
Turn this around.
One of the things I wanted to say real quick, we're at the gas station, because when we left the house and what I just did, that little bit of driving went from 40% to 27% fuel, right? So this car with the tune on it, Colin was saying if you're giving it the beans, you're gonna get about 100 miles of range.
150-ish. If you got it in track and you're manually doing it, yeah, you better have some gas.
So what is the gas, like how many gallons does this tank hold, you know?
We're about to see. It's usually it's about
18.
It's about 13, really.
Are you serious?
13 or 14
13? Do they offer an extended range?
Not that I know of.
Wow, that's not a lot, man. So you're getting what? Like, if you're getting on it, you're getting about six miles a gallon, maybe?
If you're really on it, yeah.
Shoot,
you're not
man.
getting much.
Oh God, let's go see what happens here. Here, guys, you more or less do need to raise it up a smidge. So this does have a vehicle lift,
That button right there.
which is right here. And now, do you have to? Is it just double pap and it does it?
Yep, I just hit it once. You'll hear the little ding, and then interesting.
Okay.
That's it.
And then you just put it back.
And then you'll see that little.
So you can drive the car still.
Yep.
You don't have to be stopped.
Nope.
That's very convenient.
See if I can get my windshield wipers.
And apparently the windshield wipers are on. Yeah. All right, we're gonna get out of town and then I'll pick it back up. But I just wanted you guys to know, this car is extremely low. We scraped, well, we didn't really scrape, but we did hear it connect with the front of the car on that turn into the gas station. So you are driving an exotic car. Most of the vehicles I review, we do have to be mindful of the front. This is obviously one of them, but it does have a lift, which makes it convenient. All right, I guess Colin's gonna do a launch for you guys. So tell them a little bit of how to do that.
So literally, I'm just gonna stop.
Push that.
Push that. Oh, it's showing me launch mode under the. There we go.
Okay, launch.
Now, awaiting. So I've got to have my foot on the brake.
Okay.
Launch mode active. Awaiting full throttle.
I don't have any words. Okay, I'm just gonna let you guys interpret what just happened. I mean, that's like the fastest I think I've ever gone. That probably is the fastest. I mean, the only thing that competes with that is frankly my Model S, right? But the fact that pulls past 100 that violently, there's just nothing like that,
And you can really fling it into turn.
Wow.
That was nothing for
We
it.
took that turn in.
It's so light.
Man.
That was nothing for it. With Sport Cup 2s on it, big wide tires, it'll eat it up.
That's amazing. God. Wow. Boy, it really is a neck jerker, let me tell you. Oh. Man, that turbo, so good. Spoiler. God, this car. What an animal. Well, your neighbors must love you.
Oh, they love it. Most popular guy.
Colin's home. Shoot, man. Wow. Unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. It's amazing our car can even go this fast, right?
And not that you can see it right now, but every time you hear one of those big whip cracks back there, that's a flame it's shooting. At night you'll be able to see it. During the day you can't, but it is shooting.
Wow.
It is shooting.
Yeah. So a little theatrics with your driving. Wow.
Takes everything pretty flat.
Such a capable car. Yeah, there's just no way I think you can get in this car and just go for it without learning about its capabilities.
And kudos to you for talking so much while you're driving. I can't talk. You got to have all your focus when you got so much speed on hand.
It's true. Well, if you don't notice, when I was giving it the beans, I shut up real quick. Man, this car is flipping bananas. Get out of here, man. This thing. Wow. Jesus. I mean. Oh. flat.
It's so flat you can really control.
Yeah, there's zero body roll in this car. I mean, man, they nailed it. Wow. Unbelievable, man. This is unbelievable. It's the fastest I've ever been in a street car for sure. Lord. When I put the 765 on camera, it's gonna be interesting to compare this, but I think with your tunes and everything, this is faster. It's really difficult not to curse. I'm just saying, like,
just to cope with the forces.
Yes, just to keep it PG. Like, I'm struggling with that. Oh my God!
It's not full on the throttle either.
No, it's like
that's as much as I dare to go.
Yeah, that's like 70%, 80%.
That's full.
Oh my God. Yeah, there's no car in this universe that is stock that's gonna beat this. I mean, you know. I mean, I'd be interested to race this against the Model S Plaid and see if that car can take it. But I think this car probably is gonna get it at about 140.
Yeah. The turbos.
Okay, I'm gonna compose myself. I'm gonna try to do an exit conclusion video on this, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. Risking my life for your enjoyment. Okay, well, now that I have composed my thoughts, we're getting ready to do the Aston Martin here, which is also owned here, but I have to say this car is extremely capable. It is an absolute track weapon. It's a lot for the street, especially with the horsepower, okay? But I wanted to talk a few other things on camera before we call this one a day, okay? So one thing, servicing. There's not a lot of easy ways that you're going to be able to access the engine in a McLaren, okay? The problem is, and it's one of the things that McLaren's kind of notorious for, is they want you to take it to the McLaren dealer. The fact that we live in Nashville, unfortunately, means that we're going to have to go down to Atlanta. I want to give a shout out though to I think it's GW Works in Nashville. They service my Vanquish, and they also work on McLarens, which is great. If you do want to access the engine, you have to go ahead and basically remove this carpet, and there are 12 bolts that you have to release. However, it's not like you can just pop open the engine like in the new Corvette or in the new Ferraris of the world, right? So you're not gonna have that easy access that you're probably gonna want to change your air filters and a lot of this stuff. You're gonna have to take it to a dealer, a service center to work on it. That's just one thing. The other thing I wanted to mention on camera, a lot of these cars are kind of been known to start burning down. I don't know if you've seen the Instagram posts, right, where they're showing the McLaren. It's literally burned to the wheels, pretty much, right? Completely demolished. There is an issue. They had a recall. So one of the things about this car, as you can see, it's all open. So when it rains, moisture will collect in the engine bay. And yes, there are drain ports, but the problem is that the moisture will stay in the basically the vehicle's area right in there, and eventually it can corrode. So what was happening was it was corroding a little bit of the part on the gas tank, potentially causing some fuel to be released into the engine bay. You put enough heat into this car like we just did, it can combust, right? A lot of the other things is, you know, if you're sitting there and you're constantly revving the car, you can see the exhaust is literally in the middle of the vehicle. So if you have anything here, right, that happens to be combustible, hey, guess what? It's gonna catch on fire. So you just have to be mindful of that. I just wanted to say though, he has had no issues with the car. They did come out with basically a recall. So in the end of the day, I think McLaren is starting to address that issue. However, as a McLaren owner, I would be a little nervous. I wouldn't want my $300,000 car to burn to the ground. And the last thing is depreciation. So being that we're in lovely COVID, or coming out of COVID here, but we're still in the weird COVID pricing where you can't get, you know, chips for cars and all that, the demand for these is staying really, really strong. The problem with McLaren, as my introduction might have highlighted, is they keep coming out with new models, right? They have the 650, the 675, the 570, the 570 GT, right? The 720, you know, the Sienna, the Speedtail, the 765, right? They're always coming out with new models every single year, it seems like, to continue to drive interest. What that does is it continually pushes down the market for the existing vehicle. So this car, if you went and you bought this thing brand new, now the owner here was very lucky in the fact that he didn't do that, right? He bought it one owner, so he got a good deal. However, if you were to go and buy this car a couple years ago, you would have lost your you-know-what. I mean, people were losing $100,000 a year driving this car. And don't get me wrong, for a lot of the individuals who are buying this car, that's totally fine, right? You know, if you got that kind of money, it don't matter, right? But in the end of the day, for, you know, most people, including myself, you know, I am going to be mindful of depreciation. However, I personally think this car has bottomed. I think if you buy a 720S today, especially if you get the right spec, I think that car is going to maintain its value. And I have a feeling, because this car is just so damn good, that it's actually going to go up in value over the next 5, 10, 20 years. Because here's the thing, and if you haven't noticed and you haven't been on McLaren's website, guess what they're doing now? Everything's going hybrid, everything's going electric, right? You're not going to get too many naturally aspirated or twin turbo V8s that are going to be left, that are going to come out as new production cars. That's just something to be mindful of, all right? So I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Absolutely love, I mean, come on, as a car reviewer, getting to spend time within a McLaren, you know, getting to experience what this car can do from an owner's point of view, there's no way that I'm ever gonna drive somebody's car like he drove it. There's no way. Just frankly out of respect, okay? If somebody got in my Vanquish and did what he did, I'd freaking put a bullet in him, okay? I mean, that's just a fact, all right? So I just wanna make sure that you guys got to experience the car and just ultimately got to feel it. Hopefully it comes across on camera. Sincerely appreciate you watching. Sincerely appreciate the owner for letting me come out here. You know, I guys love to do this.